so this is our wrap up here. So I think it went well. We got to talk to a lot of to some of the councils, some of the people involved in sustainable development, and they all agree that health and safety needs to be looked at here. And so we will be following up with this. And it's nice to see that they're also open to having a public forum on the 5G network, because that is very serious here. So from my understanding, it's like a class 2 carcinogen. So I mean, cancer rates will go through the roof. Schizophrenia, dementia, skin cancer. I mean, insomnia. There's so many side effects to this. So we're all about developing. We're not against technology. We just when you say smart, we mean smart. We don't want people being harmed in this growth. And we local supporting locals. We truly love our Okanagan. We love a natural Okanagan. We want to sustain our organic and natural way of life here. So a lot of these people are not properly educated. So we donated the calendar to the mayor, to one of the city staff, to allow them to go and do their own research on this. So follow us at localsupportinglocals.ca. Find us on Facebook, Local Supporting Locals Okanagan Chapter. Join the Meeting of the Minds. That's a group that we put together, and we actually host meetings to discuss these issues and how we're going to solve them. We don't come there with all the answers. We want like-minded people that have solutions to these issues and to come out to our meetings. So subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, Kevin Proteau, and we'll keep you updated, and come out to one of our meetings. Thank you. So I'm Kevin Proteau here with Local Supporting Locals, and we're here for a very special event that's taking place here in Penticton. It's the OCP Expo.
Yeah.
So it's the official community plan that they're looking for Penticton, shape our city. So they've asked the community to come down and give their input and show the plans that they have, and get everybody's feedback. So I'm here with Lynn Kelsey. So you're one of the official community...
I'm on the official community plan task force. I'm the vice chair on the task force. And so I've been part of the engagement, sort of setting up what we were going to do for the engagement and being here. We had a group from the number of different committees, that people that sat on different committees throughout the city were here last night. And it was a really very high energy group, and had a lot of fun with them and working the activities. And then today, during the day, we had two groups from Penn High, and the difference was quite startling between the older folks and the students, and it was really an exciting time to work with them.
So What's involved here, because I noticed that this is going on for the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so January 18th, 19th, and 20th. Tonight, the focus is on smart cities.
Yeah, the Penticton is applying for the Smart Cities prize. It's a $10 million prize. So right now they're trying to put their proposal together to be able to move to the next step with that. So we've got this folks from the Smart City group here, and it's about how do we make our city more vibrant and using technology and things like that. We've also got the rest of the room that has the official community plan sort of strategies and the areas that we're working on. So we're working on transit, housing,
And so,
everything.
because I noticed this was started at Penticton, right? That's where-
Yeah, Penticton was sort of the first step before we did this. Yeah, and we got a lot of stuff out of Penticton that sort of drives some of the ideas that are on the boards already. The ideas that are there come from the community.
Okay, and so the one thing, it was Gordon Yu or something like that, that was one of the speakers. He's at the college, and he's part of the sustainable.
Yeah, I wasn't part of who the speakers were at Penticton.
No, I know,
but-
but because the one thing I noticed with Gordon at the beginning of his presentation was a big symbol of the UN, and so so this is all part of a directive from the UN. The under the sustainable development that you guys are doing.
No, it's basically being directed through the official community plan. We're renewing it. That was last done in 2002, so it definitely needs to be redone.
Sorry.
And so it's this is all being driven from there, and because we're trying to get, and we're not reinventing the wheel. If we've got things that come from other places, we've got some folks that are very involved in agriculture and in environmental stuff. We've got engineers. We've got about 19 different people on the task force that represent a lot of different areas. So.
Well, because I mean, the reason why I asked that is because I mean, as you well know, and most of us know this, for our local supporting local calendars. And it's our festivals and events, and the one thing that it's loaded with is information. So one of our focuses on this year's calendar, one of them is, and I think I'd like to know your thoughts on this, is the use of glyphosate and Roundup. It's because it's been banned in many countries here.
Yeah.
But to go along the roots of a natural Okanagan, if we want to talk about sustainable and agriculture and everything else like that, because do you think that's normal for farmers to wear hazmat suits?
Well, it's not normal for farmers to wear hazmat suits, but that would be my own personal thing. That's not me speaking as a task force member. That's me speaking personally.
But that's something that should be, you think,
But
discussed?
it's something that is certainly a question that could come up.
If we're going to talk about environmental
Let's
and
bring,
everything else.
yeah, and that's going to be another round right now. Tonight, and we're focusing on like growth, so housing, transportation, and the economy, and then we'll do one on environment and arts and culture and heritage. And so we're not just because that's what we're doing tonight.
No,
That's not our focus.
no, I'm just throwing that out
Yeah.
to you because I like to see people's face when they see their farmer dressed like that. So far, nobody's agreed that any farmer should be dressed like that when they're
No.
dealing with our food here. But one of the other ones here, and this is why I bring it up, is the Sustainable Development, which is UN Agenda 21. This
Right.
is the World Business Sustainable Consulting. God, I keep forgetting the whole name on this.
Whatever. Okay.
So they are the consultants for the UN, for UN Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. So the reason why I put this in this year's calendar is because these are the corporations, the members that are part of the sustainable development, which comes across as green and friendly, right? So we got Dole, DuPont, BP Petroleum, Monsanto, which was bought by Bayer. So they're going to be the ones telling us what is sustainable. So there's lots of cities in the United States that have now stopped going with this agenda and just focusing on taking it back locally and abstaining from letting these corporations come in. Because at the end of the day, I mean, what is our Okanagan known for? Agriculture, right?
And local.
Yes, exactly. So
I mean, and that is one thing that, like, as I say, we need to discuss these things. But I think that the views that I've been hearing are let's build our local economy.
Yes.
and our local farmers and stuff.
Well, and that's why, like, I'm not here to be
No.
on like an attack mode or anything in that way. My goal, and that's what I try to do with these calendars, is find the truth, be the change, right? So if you don't know about it, you can't discuss
That's
it,
right.
right? But also, just one more thing here, because
You said no hard questions.
I'm just planting seeds here because I know you want to run for council, Lynn, so it's good to know this stuff. Because, like, I'm going to be asking these gentlemen over here when it comes to the smart cities, how much health and safety checks have been done.
Right.
Because we did get the first smart meter opt-out program here. The 5G network is coming in, and there's been no health or safety checks on these. So,
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a strong proponent for health and safety, and I always have been, and was a health and safety worker at my place of employment, and so it's something I really feel that you can't make good decisions if you don't have all the information.
That makes sense to me. Yes, thank you.
Well said.
So I guess my question to you, since
Thank you,
being
Kevin.
on a community plan here, are these questions that you will now bring up with Keith McIntyre and their group here? That's part of the smart city.
We'll bring those
The
up,
health
and
and
you're
safety.
welcome to bring them up too. And
Yes.
and some of those things have been coming up with our groups as we do some of the activities. So
Yeah, and again, this is just about
involve
getting the
yourself in the
information.
activities tonight. Yeah.
Yes, so thank you very much,
Well,
Lynn.
you're very welcome, Kevin.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
look
very
forward
much.
to this event and talking to more people here.
Please get out there and
Okay,
talk
so
to them.
now we're here with Keith McIntyre, and he's part of the Smart City, I guess you could say, development.
So I'm the person that found the Smart Cities Challenge, and I started to gather some community support and saw that there was enough excitement for it. And as a result, I presented to City Council, and now I'm the community leader for the community side of things for the Smart City Challenge.
So I understand that the city has now thrown in, what is it, $100,000 to get 10 million? Or?
No, they've put in up to $10,000,
Oh, 10,000, okay.
which is we might not even use it. It's just in case we need some outside help for finalizing the final proposal. And if we're selected a finalist, we get $250,000 for over the next 6 to 7 months to finalize our ideas, and with a chance in the following spring to win a $10 million prize.
Okay, so what's entailed with the Smart City when you're for development here?
So I really like the format of this challenge, where the federal government has said, decide as a community what is your biggest challenge that you're trying to solve. So, they have some examples of a healthy community or sustainable living. There's dozens of examples, and so we're gonna come up with that kind of challenge statement. So we're not thinking about problems at this stage. We're thinking about
Well, the technology is in, I guess.
and then how to use open data and technology to potentially solve these problems, and come up with something ambitious and replicatable that can be applied to other communities across the country.
Okay. Well, because I know you and I have known each other for a couple of years here. We agree to disagree on a couple of issues here, like Penticton actually got the first smart meter opt-out program in Canada. Is here when local supporting locals had the public forum with them, because they agree that there is health issues here.
Yep.
So like in our 2018 calendar here, that's one of the things that we put in this calendar here, is in regards to the 5G network here. So how much health and safety has been done in regards to, like, with the 5G network and this whole smart?
That's not for me to say. That's not not the focus of this thing. This thing is coming up with really it's a communication platform for us to come up with some ideas for Penticton, and what is our biggest challenge. It's not directly related to any one technology.
Well, and that's it. When I interviewed Lynn here, because I'm not in the tech mode. Like these, like all these calendars, find the truth, be the change. Like this is all about getting the information out there, getting people to look at it. Because sometimes we are kind of blinded. Sometimes if there's if there's financial gains and stuff in there. With the 5G network, from what I understand. There's going to be a lot of little cell towers being placed all over.
I don't know anything about that.
You don't know anything about the 5G network?
No.
Oh, okay. So, but for the technology, before it comes in, will there be information sessions? Like, will health and safety be?
Oh, I'm sure it is a city initiative. So if we do win the prize, then it is the city that is running it, and we'll go through the regular city processes and sorts of things. So
Well, okay, let me ask
And
you this way. Would you...
I don't work for the city. I don't know.
No, I know. I know you don't. Well, what's your
Yeah.
company?
Big Bear Software.
Yeah, so you're into technologies then,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So would you agree that health and safety needs to be looked at before we move forward and with certain
Right.
technologies before we bring them in?
I think health and safety is always something to look for.
Yes,
But
I agree.
as an electrical engineer, I don't find worry with it myself.
Yeah, but I mean, that's it. So I mean, the thing is to have the debate, bring in credible people, and just have discussions so we can come.
For sure.
Yeah, you know, because I mean, like mental health is one of the biggest issues going on right now, and a lot when we had our smart meter forums was attributed to having Wi-Fi in schools. Yeah, so again, thanks for your time there. I appreciate it, Keith, there, and yeah, we'll continue on. Okay, so now we're here with Anthony Haddad. If you could tell everybody your title.
Yeah, so I'm Director of Development Services with the City of Penticton.
Okay, so with this whole OCP here, this whole directive, where does this all stem from? Where does it come from?
So we began the discussion around looking at updating the official community plan in would have been 2016. Really looking at the outdatedness of the current official community plan, which was put together in 2002. So council gave us the approval to move ahead with the process that we're now in the middle of, engaging with the community, looking at what their vision is for the next 20-30 years of our community, which is going to set the scene for the development of policies around housing needs in the community, around how we grow as a community, around agriculture, around arts and culture, all the various issues that our community deal with. The OCP will set the direction for the next 20-30 years in the community.
So this is all about sustainable development, I guess?
Yeah, sustainable development. It's a theme that runs through a number of different things. Sustainable
Yes.
development from different types of housing, sustainable buildings, for example. How we grow as a community. Do we infill our existing areas as opposed to growing out to the hillsides? Sustainability touches on every component of being a healthy community. Arts and culture are a key part of being a healthy community as well. So sustainability touches on every part.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta admit, it's a buzzword that I'm not crazy about, because when you think of the word sustain, it means to just exist, right? So,
Yeah, sustainability, you look at economic sustainability as a community and the business community and job creation and that component. Then you look at social sustainability of a community and the various health.
Well, the one thing I noticed at Penticton it was Gordon from the college.
UBC, yeah.
Yes, and I noticed the big emblem symbol with the UN. So there is the UN Agenda 21, which was formed in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro for sustainable development. So you're familiar with that?
Yeah, Paris Accord. Is that
Yeah. Well, the power.
that's a little bit later on.
Yes, yeah. But that was a follow-up to it.
Yeah.
So this is under the same directive?
The OCP.
Well,
No,
this whole sustainable development, will it follow that though, or it doesn't?
no. We're at the process right now of our official community plan process, where we're really getting feedback from the community. There's no
Okay, good.
There's no agendas being put forward by anyone in the city. Where
Okay, so that's a relief here,
Yeah.
and I'll explain why. Because I mean, like it's for our calendars, and the theme of this year's calendar is real living with real food in a natural Okanagan. Yeah, that's exactly. And so what we look at is right off the bat here, nothing natural about a farmer wearing a hazmat suit. So like what we want to do is come to the city here to get this banned. If we're going to talk about sustainable growth and everything else, like this, we need to get this.
I think British Columbia is in a really good position with the agricultural land reserve. Approximately 20-30% of the city's boundary is surrounded by the agricultural land reserve, or either zoned agricultural, designated within our OCP as agriculture, which is a really, again, looking sustainable, from a sustainable point of view, looking out into the future, the ability for us to make, bake and grow, as they say in the farmers market, in the community.
We're fortunate here. We're in agricultural and organic capital of Canada.
Sure.
So we need to, we need to preserve that.
We got to look after it.
Well, and this is what my question was leading up here, to make sure that it wasn't part of the UN agenda.
No, I don't know really too much about it.
Because this is the corporation that's behind with the UN, and these are just part of some of the members, and Bear being one of them. Bear just bought Monsanto, $60 billion. We could probably write that or check ourselves out. But so this shows you all the corporations and explains to you. So the ones causing the problems are the ones trying to tell us how to be sustainable. So a lot of cities have opted out from using this, going with this agenda.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to hear that you guys have not done that. So
Yeah, no, we're really looking at organic process, similar that we do with a lot of the planning work. We need to start with the community and listen to them. Council expects us as staff to make sure that the community are involved in all the planning processes that we go through, and that all the policies that we write are informed by what the community want to see, and informed by some of the technical experts out in the community and technical experts throughout BC, and they're helping us out. And you saw that through Penticton with some of the specialists that we have in there. So there's a variety.
well, I
of
did
tools
talk to
that we
Keith
use.
there in regards to the smart city. So that was the next question I had for you too, because we have that in this calendar as well. And again, we're not going on attack. We want to put the information out there, because until you know all sides, you can't be properly informed. And you were there for the Smart Meter Public Forum that we had.
Yeah, a few years back.
Yeah, it's quite a few years back. And so you saw some of the risks to this wireless technology. And now we got the 5G network coming in. So
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with all that stuff.
Well,
So interesting nonetheless. Yeah.
well, the thing is from what I understand with the UBCM, with the last convention there was a council, I think it was Richmond, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this part, but that put in that the cities all have to have information sessions for the communities to tell them on the health and safety aspects of the 5G. So are you guys going to be doing that here as well?
I'm not involved in any of that, so I'm not too sure.
Well, because with the smart cities, that's what that involves. So it's got these microcell towers that are going to bombard us all
Smart
throughout.
Cities is an initiative that's really starting out right now, very similar to the OCP process. The first step in the Smart Cities program is to find out what the community think is a challenge in the community. Is it community safety? Is it community health? Is it community accessibility?
Well, I mean, health and safety should always come first, right?
So, but that's what we want to hear from the community. We're not, again, there's no agendas being
Okay,
driven
so
right
me
now,
asking
so-
you though, as working for the city, would you not say there should be health and safety evaluations done before implementing it?
But there's nothing to implement yet because we haven't figured out what the
No,
community's
well, it's coming
challenge is.
because TELUS. I just spoke with TELUS as well, so they're already installing the fiber optics. So they need that in order to put the 5G and to make them both work. So, and they can't answer anything on the health safety of it either.
Yeah.
So would you support getting the health and safety evaluations before allowing it?
Yeah, I don't. There's no allowing anything that one or the Smart Cities Challenge is only starting the discussion.
Well, because that's $10 million in upping our town, moving it into a smart town. So it's just a matter of like I'm not against technology.
And I think there's technological aspects to being a smart city, but there's also growing smartly as a community through the planning policies and agricultural policies and all that sort of stuff as well. So the definition of smart technology is one component, but there's much more to it.
Yes, well, see, thank you. So that's what I try to do with locals, supporting locals, and that's what we try to do with these calendars. So what I'd like to do is actually donate this calendar to you.
Awesome.
There's it's got all the a lot of festivals, events, money-saving coupons.
You got some great leaders in the community as part of
exactly.
this as well. So thank you.
Yeah, so I don't go on attack. I just try to bring the information so that we can all learn, like you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know about this, now you can. There's resources that you can check out. So thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. So now we're here with Andrew Jacobite, the mayor of Penticton. So if you can just give your perspective on this OCP Expo that we're having here.
So we're, as you know, trying to update our official community plan. It's 15 years old, and in 2002 I anticipated the city was going to be 45,000 people, or golf was going to be one of the major industries, and obviously a lot of those things haven't happened. It talked about housing should be up, urban sprawl into the hillside, and we're seeing more towers and trying to get densification, make more of a walkable community. And so now we're a chance to sort of relook at things. We have had over 90 changes to the official community plan over those 15 years. So it's time to review it and really create a proper blueprint for the council of the day and the community to start moving forward towards. And so We're talking about housing, we're talking about economy, we're talking about agriculture, we're talking about arts and culture, heritage, environment, transportation, health and safety. So those are the pillars. And what we're doing now is trying to, instead of waiting for people to come to us at City Hall, we've created its own little entity to go to the people and try to make it easy and interactive for people to see what's been in 2002, what's contemplated, and get their ideas and input so we can actually build something that is broad-based from the community's interest and concerns, and that becomes that blueprint that we move forward towards.
So, yeah, it is a great information session, and it allows for us to even have this talk as well. So, I mean, this is the Okanagan. This is, would you not say, agricultural capital of Canada, organic capital of Canada, actually? If you look at Costin, it clearly says organic capital, would you say?
Well, I think agriculture is a big part of this, yeah.
Yes.
And organic, especially as you start going to the Smoky Valley, is large, big component, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so because like we just released our 2018 calendar, and we included this year Real Living with Real Food, but in a natural Okanagan. Mm-hmm. And so the purpose for coming to this event is that, like, we always put important information on here, and so would you support discussion on, because I mean, do you see this being natural? A farmer wearing a hazmat suit dealing with our food? You can go in Oliver and you can see it firsthand, right? So we'd like to get discussion going with trying to get this banned in our Okanagan as well. Would you be open to that? Discussion on that?
Well, we certainly can look at things, and that's, I mean, agriculture is one of the pillars that we're considering or looking at.
Well, and here's one of the other big topics, which is what we see going on here, is sustainable development. So you're familiar with the UN back in 1992 at Rio de Janeiro, forming the UN Agenda 21. You're familiar with that?
Can't say I am.
Okay, well, no, because Anthony was. So the thing is, what was nice to hear from Anthony is this is supposed to be more grassroots. It's not part of any agenda, because this is the WBCSD here, which is the corporation that's working with the UN. These are all the members. This is just part of the members, but it's Dole, DuPont, Bayer, who bought Monsanto, $60 billion, just chunk change. So on here we put the information of what is the UN Agenda 21 and the corporations behind it, because it comes across warm, green, and fuzzy. So it's nice to see that you guys are not part of that. So my other question though to you is with this whole 5G network that's coming through. So I was just talking with TELUS, and apparently they're installing the fiber optics. And in order for the fiber optics, for the 5G network to work with the microcell towers, they need the fiber optics in first. So is the city doing a health and safety evaluation of this? Have you been given health and safety?
Well, I'm not sure they've come to us for that sort of heads up of this is what we're moving towards, and some of that stuff is regulated through Health Canada, as you probably know, and that's puts us in predicament. We can't override or supersede what Health Canada does.
Under health and safety, you should be able to, though.
Well, they're the ones that set the standards, right? And so until they're sort of using our infrastructure, like they want to put, if the telecom companies want to put access points on city infrastructure, then it comes to us. But if they go, let's say, to a private business and want to put a repeater or tower or whatever it is, it becomes a bit more complicated. But again, Health Canada and the CRTC or whatever regulatory body, they dictate how that consultation with the community as in the city council and the community as the general public, how that plays out. So we haven't been
so what
yet
they are,
how that's going to play out yet.
What they are is putting these microcell transmitters, which are like tiny little cell towers, on lampposts. Mm-hmm. So those are on the city properties.
Yeah, well, they haven't come pitching us on, hey, we want to put bigger antennas or towers onto our system. So maybe that's coming, but that hasn't been pitched to council yet.
Okay, so if, let's say for myself, because we did have that smart meter public forum, mm-hmm. if I came to the city, if I can show that this is happening, can we host another public forum on this?
Okay, I would be part of that whole consultation process. That would be an expectation for any community to participate on, and we'd be open to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the one thing that was great with the city of Penticton when we did have they were open to the public forum, and we did obtain the first smart meter opt-out program in Canada this year in Penticton. So I do look forward to having an information session on this, and it's great to see, like, as you can see, the city councilors and mayor are open to discussing these issues. So I thank you so much, Andrew.
Anytime, Ken.
You're welcome.